It's called Joyce Band. I don't know if anyone's heard of the book. Oh yeah, I can see one head shaking. Um, I just started it. Her the phys the she's gerontologist, which is not a physician, but a PhD and somebody who's studying aging. And her name's Carrie Burnite. Yep. And the book's called Joy Span. And I know there's a couple of you who would enjoy this book. All of us, I think, would get a lot out of the book. But one of the things that I appreciate about her is that she's talking not just about how do we age well physically, which all of us are concerned about, wanting to make sure we're aging well physically, but also how do we age well in all the other aspects of our life? Like, what's the point of, living into our 90s if we're not, even in a healthy body, if we're not very joyful, or have a lot of, just beauty and connection in our life. So, how do we maintain that? And I know all of us have experienced um, people who are aging in our lives. Maybe we've seen our parents or our siblings or our friends or whoever we've kind of walked next to as they've gotten through their aging process, and we've seen some of the pitfalls that can happen. And it's really a cultural phenomenon that we're very ageist in our culture. We have to stay young, we have to stay able. And there's a big discrepancy between how do we do that in a healthy way, and then, this cliff that a lot of older people tend to kind of fall off of. So I when I was how I first heard about her was through Vonda Wright, who's written another great book called Unbreakable, which is all about the physical aspects of aging. And if you haven't read or heard of Vonda Wright, she's another person to kind of hang out in her realms with. But one of the acronyms that I think is very helpful that both of them have talked about is it always reminds me of piano lessons. You know how it was like I don't know, all cows eat grass and all the things you learn. But FACE is a common acronym. I've heard it for a lot of different medical things. And so, but it's good when you have an acronym because it helps you remember things. So Von der Wright talked about FACE. The F is flexibility. The second is aerobic. This is all in realms of physical, keeping your physical body healthy. Flexibility, aerobic capacity. The C is carrying heavy loads or weight training so that you keep your muscle mass and stay strong with your bone and muscle health. And then the last is equilibrium or balance training. So we do a lot of this in yoga. We do a lot of these aspects of keeping our physical body healthy. And I'm sure you're thinking about that in other areas of your life as well. But Dr. Burnright talks a little bit about the same acronym, and the same aspects, but in a slightly different way, not just our physical health, but our emotional and social health as well. So the F isn't just flexibility in our body, but to think about flexibility in our the ways we are. Bad things happen. You get a flat tire and you have to figure out what to do about it. So to be adaptable, to be flexible and adaptable so that when the unexpected challenges that are constantly coming at us, that we have the capacity to deal with them. And this sense of adaptability is a really important aspect of our joy and about keeping our capacity to be happy as we age is if we can kind of roll with the punches. And then the next is the A, instead of aerobic, but to think about the heart, the aerobic capacity of the heart, but to turn that into heart connection. That one of the things we often lose when we get older is connections. Our worlds get smaller. So to reach toward connection, and they can be micro connections or macro connections, where we can have little moments of interaction with people in our day, or we can have those deeper, bigger relationships. And that we need all of it. We need community around us, and we need to connect with other people. And that's often something that we lose as we get older. So connection. And then the C for instead of carrying heavy loads or getting our physical growth, muscle strength growth, to think about growth in all the other ways. So Are you learning new things? Do you tend to, are you engaging in new activities? Are you continuing to learn and grow through your life? This also tends to shrink as we get older. So, to make a point of thinking about something that you're passionate about, that you want to learn about, that you want to get good at, and putting some energy toward it. And then the last, instead of just equilibrium as far as balance, physical balance training, but to think about the balance of self and other. So, also, a lot of older people tend to get very self-aware, self-centered, where they're thinking a lot about what's happening to them, and they lose that capacity to kind of move outward into the world. And older people don't have as much opportunity to give back in the way that we do when we're a little younger. So recognizing the ways that older people can give back to the world and giving opportunity for that. So I know a lot of us are, in that middle age time frame, but this is the time frame to be thinking about how we want to age. It's we're the freshmen of the older people, like we're the babies of the older people. So we want to think about how we want to develop these aspects of ourselves now so that we can age really well. Um, so I don't know, it's food for my thought. I'm learning about it, and I thought I would just share a little bit because I know everybody here is interested in aging well and trying to live our best lives, and we reach into yoga and into the Yoga Sutra and into the spiritual aspects of yoga for the same purpose. We want to broaden ourselves and enrich our lives and be the most full expression of our soul life here in this lifetime that we get. And tending to our joy and tending to our physical and mental health is a really important aspect of that. So, yeah, just a little food for thought. Joy Span is the name of the book, Carrie Burnite. So if you're interested. Okay, so let's go ahead and close our eyes and take a moment to drop in to some awareness of this moment. I think one of another pitfalls of kind of looking toward healthy aging is we can get caught in thinking that we have to be rock stars, that we have to do everything perfectly, and that we quote unquote fail if something happens to us. So let's remember that we can find grace through challenges that we face. All right, so as you close your eyes, recognize that you're taking small steps, that you don't have to, do the big lifts all the time, that you can take the small steps toward caring for yourself well. So drop into your breath now and just take a moment to sense this moment. Okay, we're not in our future self, even though we can think about it. We're right here in this moment. We're not in our past self, so we can let go of what was and what's coming and just be here. Can you infuse some gratitude into this moment? What are you um, joyful and thankful about today? Maybe it's the sound of birds when you woke up this morning, or the beautiful weather we've been having, or some new flower that just erupted nearby in and around your neighborhood. Any small things. Let's pay attention to the small things. So as you let yourself lean into gratitude, now let's lean into the breath a little bit deeper. Drop yourself into the groundedness of your legs and your pelvis and feel your sense of connection to the earth. Notice if your spine tends to slump, if you tend to push or pull, what are your tendencies? Can you float your spine and have a sense of ease in your alignment? Where does your head like to land? Do you tend to lean forward with your head, reaching into what you're leaning toward, or do you align well? Just pay attention to your posture and your breath for a moment. As you bring your hands together, let's see if we can have part of our intention be something that you're looking forward to today. Okay, so, is there a small thing that you're excited about that you can bring some energy forth about in your day? Maybe it's something you have planned with another person. Maybe it's an opportunity to be outside, whatever, just a small thing that you are looking forward to that will bring you joy. And let's lift the heart into that anticipation of joy. And then allow that joy to just kind of settle over us in this moment. Release the hands and let's find our way onto our back. Maybe your joy is just the anticipation of doing some yoga. I know for me, I get excited to be on my mat. It's one of the joyful parts of my day. So I hope that is true for you as well. All right, so let's stretch our body, reaching one side, reaching another side, and just enjoying some spaciousness, reaching through your shoulders and your hips. Maybe while you're out there in space, wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes and sensing how long you are. And when our arms are overhead, we just get this beautiful opportunity to feel our thoracic spine open up a little bit in a different way. Feel that heart energy. And then draw your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. See if you can get the feeling of rocking to give you some ease in your body. And then we'll circle, kind of rolling through your knees, so that we just get that sense of ease across our low back, through our sacrum, and then roll your knees the other way. Heaviness in your head, just this gentle rhythmic movement. Let it kind of let you land in your body in a joyful way. Open up your knees away from the midline and bring them back in. And you might notice that some range of motion in your body isn't always so joyful, that you have a little, stiffness or a little aches or pains. But notice how, as we move, maybe things start to loosen up a little bit and you get a little bit more comfortable in your body. And can this be a simple joy? Okay. Right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's move around and our ankles wiggle through your toes and keep restful in your shoulders and your head. Have a little body joy in your feet. One of my favorite parts about yoga is the body joy that comes from it. And just simple embodiment and enjoying your embodiment. Let's cross the right knee over to the left and stretch open through your chest. A big breath here, lengthen through your heart all the way to your hand. Maybe you want to turn your head. And then we'll come back to center and bring that knee in. Pick up your head and give a little squeeze, and then we'll switch sides. Put your head down, left knee into your chest. Move your feet again. Having our ankles and our feet warmed up and loosened up is so good, not just for our capacity for balance, which is important, but also just for our ground feel. When we get up onto our feet, having a good ground feel through our feet It's such a pleasure to know the earth well through your feet. Let's cross the left knee over to the right and enjoy a sense of openness across your chest. Feed yourself some good deep breaths. And then bring that left knee back into your chest, a nice hug. Pick up your head, a good squeeze, and then release your arms, your head, your legs. Stretch out to a star. Let's roll our wrists, wiggle your fingers, maybe open and close your fists rapidly so you just get to know your hands as well as your feet. And then take another deep breath in and feel that full body stretch. And as you exhale, knees into your chest. One more time. Expand open like a star. As you exhale, close in like a ball. And then roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. As you find all fours, let's enjoy some cats and cows arching through your spine, rounding through your spine, taking some time to move through your vertebrae and pay attention. See if you can feel a little body joy in the simple act of moving your spine around. We don't have to do, huge things in order to experience freedom in our body and to experience joy in our body. Simple things like a cat cow can truly, if we bring attention to it, bring a lot of body joy. And then move around in your spine, wag your tail, move your shoulders, any kind of movement that feels good to you. How's your breath as you're moving? And then we'll drop down into a child's pose and walk the hands far out in front of you and reach through your sides. Inchworm those fingers a little further. Drop some weight into your hips. And then we'll walk the hands over to one side of the mat and feel that reaching through the back, through the hip. Open up your breath. And then find your way over to the other side, feeling a good reach through your side, reach through your shoulder, all the way down into your hip, and enjoy what you're feeling. And come back to center. Let's reach the left arm up in the air, roll your wrist around a little bit, turn your head up if you can, and look toward the sky. And then exhale and slide that arm underneath you and twist. Feel free to have a little bit of movement here. Sometimes rocking or swaying or moving with the breath can be so nice. Rhythmic movement can feel very nourishing to the body. And then inhale, bring that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. We'll switch sides. Right hand up, give your wrist a little swirl, move your fingers, and then we'll drop into a twist on this side. Maybe you want to rock forward and back. Maybe you want to kind of pulse that hand into the ground. Just see if movement feels good, or maybe stillness is really beautiful to you right now and you can focus on the movement of the breath. And then we'll come out of there, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, and let's find our way to a dog pose. Extend upward and lengthen. Take a little time here to pedal your feet, move your hands, enjoy. Get a sense of the ground. Find some earth to reach into, and then lengthen out of that space. So root to rise. Melt your head, sway about if you want, pedal, just see what feels good to orient your body into space in this pose. The breath is so good here, so give yourself an opportunity to fill and empty.
And then walk your feet forward and come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Relax your head, give it a little bobble if you'd like. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Feel free to pedal your feet again here if you'd like. Dropping one hip back, opening up those outer hips a little bit. And then root through your feet, spread your toes, melt again. Soften your knees, release your head. Inhale to rise all the way up. Bring your arms up overhead if it's comfy. Always, you can modify anything and everything. Reach upward, look upward. See if you can get the heart to expand. Sometimes it takes a little work to stay in these places where we grow and we connect and we feel adaptable. We have to kind of open ourselves and will some of this energy toward us. Okay, let's cactus. Open our chest, spread your wings, squeeze your shoulders. Exhale, round in, chin to chest. Inhale, arms back up. As you exhale, we'll swan dive forward. Notice your body warming a little bit. Inhale, halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Exhale, melting again. Step back to a dog pose. Maybe your non-dominant foot can come back first. See if you can take pathways less traveled in your body sometimes. Take a little time to ground feel. Take a little time to breathe. Enjoy. Are you having some body joy yet? Inhale, come forward into a plank. Shoulders away from the ears. Ground yourself with your hands, push into the earth. Can you get strong but still be mobile? So the core is fully engaged, but we still have to breathe. So there's a little mobility in our core, even when we have to be structurally sound. You can always put your knees down first, find the ground. Roll the shoulders, prepare for a back bend by making sure your shoulder blades are mobile. Okay. And then root the shoulder blades down, engage your core a little bit, press your legs, engage your legs, inhale, rising up. Exhale, releasing down. Draw those elbows back, inhale, cobra. Exhale, toward the ground. Up onto all fours, give your spine some movement again. Curl the toes under and lift to a dog. While you're here, isometrically drag your feet apart. So try to grip the mat with your toes. Don't grip your toes, but the beds of your toes, the roots of your toes, ground into the earth, and then drag your feet apart from each other. See if you can stay with those mounds into the earth and then pull your feet apart. Wake up those outer hips. And then we'll walk our feet forward. Come to Uttanasana again. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale. And fold. Have your feet hip width apart. Drop like a chair with your hips, but stay low with your torso and put your hands on the outsides of your knees, not the kneecaps, but the outside edges of your knees. And then see if you can ground your feet again. Drag your feet apart. Press your knees into your hands and your hands into your knees. A little bit of core so that you're supporting yourself. Notice what's happening in your outer hips, those gluteus, medius, and minimus. And then relax and melt that. Push through your feet, rising up again. And trace down through the center of the body. And just pause here for a moment. Discover your breath. Is there a feeling that you're becoming a little bit more embodied than maybe you were when you first stepped onto your mat? Give yourself an opportunity to unlock the breath here. And then let's play with just a little bit of balance on our toes and on our heels. So we're rocking forward, up, heels up off the ground, and then rocking backward, maybe lifting your toes a little bit off the ground.
And you can do whatever you want with your arms, kind of help you balance. And we're just kind of going back and forth, getting to know our feet on the ground. Sense what's below you. Maybe you have just a thin mat and a wood floor below you, and you feel that firmness. Maybe you have a thick mat or two mats. Maybe you have a carpet underneath you. So just kind of sense how the ground feels. Is it soft or hard underneath you? And then settle your feet back down and pay attention to all four corners of your feet. Maybe give a little accentuation to the big toe mound for a moment, the pinky toe mound, kind of slide across the toe beds from big toes to pinky toes. And then sense into your heels, inner heels, outer heels. Just get to know the bottom of your feet. And then notice where you like to live in the bottom of your feet. Do you have some tendencies where you feel really grounded and planted and aware in a certain aspect of a foot? Inhale up onto your toes, arms come up overhead. And then exhale, heels come down, floating forward. A halfway lift, opening up through your spine. Exhale, let's step our left foot back, come to a lunge. Okay. Start to move here, bending and straightening the front legs. We're warming up the hamstrings a little bit, getting our hip flexors to slide open. Moving with our breath. Now try with this next pass of straightening the front leg, pause there, lift your toes up off the ground, square the hips, and maybe draw your chin towards your chest. So we get that full back line stretch. And then place that foot down, bend the knee again, open the heart. And this time when you straighten your leg, keep your toes rooting into the earth so we feel a stretch across the front of the foot, square the hips. And then release back into a lunge. Ground your feet. Notice where they are. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Follow with your eyes. Look upward if you can. Challenge your balance a little bit here. So if looking up doesn't challenge your balance, try putting your head back to neutral and close your eyes. So do something that kind of encourages that inner sensing of our proprioception to kick into gear. How's the breath when you do this? Do you lose your breath when you have to focus on balance? And then release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Fold deeply. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, squatting down. Stick a block between your thighs if you have one, and come to a chair, maybe a little differently than our normal chair. Have the block high up at your inner thighs. Start with your hands on those outer knees. Get a little lower again, like we did earlier. Ground the feet, the whole toe beds, and press your knees into your hands into knees, and hang on to that block at the same time. Feel all that stability. And release that and come up with the block up onto your toes, a little harder now. Notice if the block wants to push forward or if you can get it to encourage your block to roll backward. So slight inner spiral of the thighs. And then we'll exhale and place our feet back down onto the ground. Fold forward, release the block. Find your breath again. A halfway lift, opening up through the sit bones, the breath, the spine. Exhale to surrender down and step your right foot back. Come to a lunge on this side. Open up through the body. Start to find that movement of your legs. Just enjoying the breath, living in some simple movements here. And let's find ourselves
grounding. So root down into your feet well. And as we straighten that front leg, see if you can lift your toes, pull your hip back, square the hips, lengthen the spine, and then drop your head. And then this next pass, bend your knee, place those toes back down onto the ground. And this time, as we straighten our leg, ground your whole foot. That whole left foot stays connected into the earth. Reach the hip back, square the pelvis, long spine, reach out of your hips. And we'll release that. Hands down onto the ground, back to a dog pose. Have your feet hip width apart or maybe a little wider. Do that grounding of the toe beds again and pull your legs apart. Release that. Come forward into a plank. Find your breath here, nice and stable. And then lower yourself down to the ground. You can choose to put your knees down first. Any back bend you're in the mood for. Stretch open, body joy. Exhale and relax. Flip over onto your back for a moment and grab your block. Okay. Place your feet hip width apart. Put a block between your thighs like we did in that chair pose. Okay. Inhale and lift to a bridge and see what you can do to have the feeling as you come into your full bridge pose that you're not pushing the block up toward the sky. Can you have just an ever so slight feeling that the inner thighs can release down toward the ground so the block doesn't push up? Okay. Root through all four corners of your feet. Press your feet down and then push your feet away from your shoulders. And pull your feet toward your shoulders. Ground your feet and pull them toward each other. And then pull your feet away from each other. Stay rooted through the whole toe bed. Don't just live in the outer feet. And then relax your pelvis back down to the ground. Have a moment to breathe here. We're going to repeat a bridge. A deep breath in. A deep breath out. This time, no block, but remember all that engagement of all the different directions you just had. Inhale, lift up your pelvis, climb onto the tops of your shoulders, find your full pose, ground through four corners of your feet. Try not to let any one action overtake another. Breathing deeply. All right, and then release the pelvis back down. Get your shoulders out in there a little bit more comfortably, and then rock your knees left and right. And turn your head in opposition of your knees. Release any tension from your neck. Breathing deeply. And then we'll roll to our side and come up onto all fours. Find that ground. Let's reach the left leg straight back behind you and the right arm out in front of you. Face the ground. Keep your head looking straight down instead of forward to your next neutral. A deep breath in and bring your arm and leg out to the sides. Integrate to the core of your body. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring your elbow and knee underneath you from this angle. It's a little different than we normally do. And straight back out to that lateral movement again. And then bring back to the neutral line. And then exhale and bring your elbow underneath you. Inhale, straight back with your leg, arm out in front. And place that hand and knee down onto the ground. Before we switch sides, just rock a little weight into your right and then rock a little weight into your left and just feel that grounding and the yielding. So give weight down and then push off. Give weight down and then push off. Recheck in with your breath. A lot of times when we're trying to hold balance, we hold our breath. So see if you can keep your breath moving. And this time we'll take our right leg back and our left arm in front. Press your shin, integrate your core, look straight down. Breathing well. And then we'll take the arm out to the side and the leg out to the side, toes down, thumb up. Hug in from your limbs to your core. Find your breath. And from this plane, come in to bring your elbow and knee toward each other. I know it's a little weird. And then bring it out again, lateral extension. Come back to the neutral line, arm overhead, leg in line with hip. Take a deep breath. Exhale, elbow and knee underneath. Inhale, bringing that arm long, leg long, hand down onto the ground. One more time, knee on the ground. Just find that sense of yielding from one side to the other. Curl the toes under and lift to a dog pose and find your breath again. Anytime you get a little lost in the breath and you think of it and you remember, oh, I'm a little lost in the breath, just bring yourself home. You can always pause the practice a moment and return to the breath if you lose it. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. And melt again. Push through the feet. Rising up. Arms upward to the sky. And then trace down through the center of the body. Find that sense of equilibrium, where we have samastitihi, this equal balance pose between our left and our right. Full breath here. When you're ready, we'll bear a little of our weight into our right and lift our left leg up in the air. So a little different kind of balance. Toes pointing forward and tip to a place where you start to wobble. Core is engaged, hug back in toward your core. And then when you're ready, bring your legs together, chair pose. You can bring your arms up or down or back or wherever you want. And then we'll spring up from that up onto the left side and tip to the side. Toes pointing forward, leg is straight, arms out to the sides. Go a little deeper so that you feel your wobble. Go to the edge of your stability. And then come back. Bring those feet back together one more time. Pause, palms coming to the center. And then when you're ready, we'll reach up on our in-breath. Tippy toes, come up onto your toes. Reach your arms high. Full breaths. Exhale and relax your arms down. Separate your feet so that you're comfy, hip width apart. And just take a moment to breathe. All right, take your legs wide. Elbows inside your knees. And just let your inner thighs stretch a little bit. Maybe you want to rock left and right. Ground yourself here. Spread open the bones of those feet again. And then inhale. And stand up straight and tall. Standing star. Exhale down toward a goddess pose. Drop your arms. Inhale, coming back up. Find the pathway that you want with your arms. You don't have to do this movement that I'm doing. You can do anything you want. But see, as you do this, as you go up and down, if you can feel that equal balance through your legs. Ground through all four corners of your feet. Feel the toe beds, those roots of your toes. Mounds of your feet, finding a lot of support on the earth.
And this next one will hang out and stay. So you don't have to go into your deepest posture. Just be self-sustaining and root through the four corners of your feet. Lift the heart, round into your legs. Little tiny pulses, just little tiny pulses here. A little bit of core, let your ribs draw in. Let your breath move your core, so we're not just holding on and gripping for dear life, but we're letting mobility on our breath happen. And then inhale and standing star, open your chest, your heart. Turn your feet over to the right and we'll come into Parsva Konasana. Elbow on your knee and stretch your left arm over your head. Full breaths. What is this pose offering you in the heart space? Is there any body joy that you notice here? How's your breathing? All right, and then come back up and we'll explore the other side. So bending your knee, and of course you can put your elbow on your knee, but you can also have your hand on a block if you prefer. Stretch that other arm over your head. Let your heart expand a little bit here. Notice the ground feel. Notice where your feet are connecting to the ground. Notice your breath. Stay with your breath. Is there somewhere in your body that feels stable? Is there somewhere that feels free? Can you kind of meld those sensations? And then we'll come back up. Heel toe your feet in for a moment and just find that neutral Tadasana again. You can bring your hands to your heart or hands down or anywhere you want. And just feel the energy of your legs, all this lower body strength that we've been building. See if you can feel your feet and your knowing of the ground. And we'll bear a little extra weight into our right foot. Pick up your left and put your left foot, you can put it anywhere you want. You can have it at your thigh or at your shin. Just try not to have your heel at your inner knee. And open yourself up into your tree. Maybe your arms reach to the sky, maybe they don't. Maybe you challenge your vision a little bit by looking up or squinting. See what it feels like to have this knee in the air, draw back toward the wall behind you a little bit while keeping the pelvis facing forward. How's your breathing? Are you sacrificing breath for balance? Try not to. And then when you feel ready, you can place that foot down. And when you do, close your eyes for a moment. Put your feet in a comfortable place on the ground and just enjoy your two legs. All right, as we move to the second side, remember just anywhere but your heel at your inner knee. So we don't want to put a lot of pressure at the inner knee. So you can even keep your toes on the ground still, or you can have your foot low so your toes are kind of at your ankle or around your calf with your foot, or higher in your thigh. You choose where you want to be. Open up that knee, square the hips, focus your drishti gaze. That foot is feeling the ground well. Unlock your knee. Keep that hip hugging in, your left hip hugging in. And just notice, maybe you want your arms up, maybe you want them wide, maybe you want your hands to your heart. So just find what's going to give you a sense of stability and concentration. Notice your breath. And when you feel ready, we can put that foot down onto the ground, and feel free to be very still, but also feel free to wiggle your body or jump or bounce or shake, kind of let the balance go. So think of all the things that we've been working on, the sense of flexibility in our body, mobility in our body, sense of equilibrium and balance, the ability to build strength and support, the ability to feel the goodness. Yoga doesn't always offer that consistent aerobic exercise. Sometimes it does, depends on the practice. But notice all the good things you're doing for your physical body and your practice. And let's see if we can also do these good things for our emotional well-being, our social well-being, a sense of connection that we have to self and others, balancing taking care of ourselves, but also giving ourselves outward to others. Trying not to become stagnant, but growing, finding things to grow our minds, grow our bodies, grow our interests, our hobbies, our creativity. All these things are so important. Okay, let's come up onto the toes, reaching the arms to the sky. And then exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Exhale again. Step back to a dog. Go through your vinyasa. So just feel the sense of ground as your breath in comes forward into a plank. And then as your breath out comes, lower yourself to the ground. Inhale for a cobra or any other back bend that you're wanting. Exhale, release that. Find your way back to a dog. Before we move from here, ground feel again, earth support. Melt into your breath. Walking your feet forward, folding deeply. Push through your feet, rising up. Trace down through that center line again, Samastitihi, finding the equal balance. Do you feel equal? We all have preferences in our body of how we like to move and stand, where we tend to be more aware, less aware. Find a sense of balance here. Take your legs wide one more time, and we're going to come into Ardha Chandrasana. So you can come at this from a triangle pose or from Parsva Konasana. You can use a block underneath your hand. I'm going to shrink up my pose because I'm out of room, but you do you. As you come up into this pose, remember your right foot, you want to keep it pointing straight. And then all this stability we've built in the hips and in the core, find it now as you lift that leg in the air, open your heart. See if you can work that outer hip to lift the leg well. Stretch into your feet, both feet. Unlock your standing knee. And remember to focus on the breath. That the breath, without the breath, the pose is not as effective or as nourishing to us. We always want the breath to be the guiding light. And then when you're ready, step back from where you came and come back up. If balance comes easily to you, try not to get attached to it. If balance comes challenging to you, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We learn how to be adaptable, shifting moment by moment. Let go of the ego. Okay, so it's not about the pose. Turn your left toes out. Find your breath, come at it from Parsva Konasana or a triangle pose, or just come right in. Make sure your left toes don't turn. See if you can keep them steady. As you come on up, you can put the block under your hand at whatever height you need. Open up through your body, turning your chest, turning your hip open. That leg in the air is active and strong. Root into both feet. Move the tail toward your foot in the air.
See if your leg that you're standing on, your left leg, can unlock the knee a little bit so you're not hyperextending. Steady yourself. Even if your body can't find steady, can your mind find steady? All right. And then come out of the pose the way you came in. And last time we'll stand in Tadasana. Feel free to bring your hands together if you'd like, or any other position that serves. Unlock your knees, feel the ground, feel below your feet. Breathe deeply and let's hold some gratitude for all that you're able to do with your body. What a gift. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, float forward. The halfway lift, extending the spine. Exhale and melt again. Last dog pose. Find your way through here. Enjoy. Yield into the earth. Give your weight and breathe. Let's come forward into a plank. Lower yourself down. This time, arms down at your sides. Lift your legs, maybe arms too. Just find that kind of equalizing onto the sacrum, hugging the sacrum with your glutes. And then relax. Okay, come up and roll to your back. Put your feet on the ground. Pause here for a moment. A deep breath in. Deep breath out. Shift your hips over to the right, knees come up, and let's drop them left, twisting. Straighten the top leg, maybe grab onto the big toe, maybe hold around the knee or the shin. Just let that outer hip open up a little bit. Back to center. Shift your hips left, knees come up, drop them right, twisting open. And the full breath in, the full breath out. If you're wanting to and you feel ready for it, straighten that top leg so the knees stay together. You can hold your big toe or you can hold around your calf or knee. Move your left hip away from your shoulder. See if you can get a little stretch in that outer hip, finding some ease. And then come back to the center. Either cross your right thigh over your left thigh and draw your knees in, or come to a reverse pigeon with right foot on left knee. And, whatever variation is supportive for your hips, for your glutes, just kind of find the pose you're looking for right now. Put your feet down, switching sides, either left thigh over right thigh with your knees drawn in, or left foot on right knee and then hold on to the back of your right leg or the front of your right shin and draw your knee toward your chest. So you all know these poses for your hips. So find what works for you. What is it that your body's looking for? Go to X marks the spot. And then when you feel ready, you can release that. And if there's anything your body needs, do what your body needs, and then allow Shavasana to come. If you need support, if you need whatever you need, just find the right way for you for right now. How is their capacity to melt your body going? Focus on the surrender of the pose. Let the exhales take you there. And let's begin to deepen our breathing. You maybe find some movement that invigorates you, brings some vitality, energy in. And your way onto your side. Eventually coming to a comfortable seat. Whatever gifts of your practice, let's share them. Open your heart and give some of your energy outward.
Namaste. Thank you, everyone.